Magellan entered King Manuel's court at Villa Real around 1492, when he was just 12 years old. This placement was no accident. Noble families strategically positioned their sons within the royal household to gain access to opportunities that could transform their futures. What nobody could predict was how this particular boy would use his privileged position to eventually serve Portugal's greatest rival. The Portuguese court operated as the nerve center of the world's most advanced maritime empire. Young pages like Magellan moved through chambers where admirals discussed trade routes and cartographers updated navigation charts. These boys served wine during meetings where captains reported on newly discovered islands and profitable spice markets. They carried messages between rooms where Portugal's expansion into Africa and Asia was planned down to the smallest detail. For an observant 12-year-old, the court provided an education in global strategy that no university could match. Magellan's daily responsibilities included copying official documents and organizing correspondence from distant territories. His handwriting became familiar with the coordinates of Portuguese trading posts stretching from Brazil to the Moluccas. He transcribed reports about wind patterns around the Cape of Good Hope and seasonal monsoons in the Indian Ocean. The boy learned to read nautical charts showing the locations of dangerous reefs and favorable harbors. Each document he copied added another piece to his mental map of Portuguese maritime dominance. Newly digitized court archives from 2025 reveal that Magellan had significant exposure to Portugal's exploration planning through his frequent map-handling duties. These documents show his name appearing regularly in records of pages responsible for organizing and maintaining the court's extensive collection of navigation materials. He delivered sealed reports from returning expedition commanders and helped catalogue charts showing established sailing routes between Europe and Portuguese colonies. This access exposed the young page to conversations about potential western routes to Asia, discussions that would later prove crucial to his own expedition planning. The political atmosphere in the Portuguese court during Magellan's formative years was charged with tension over Spain's growing maritime ambitions. Portuguese nobles spoke openly about their concerns regarding Christopher Columbus's discoveries and Spain's attempts to claim territories in the New World. Court conversations frequently turned to the Treaty of Tordesillas and debates over which lands rightfully belonged to Portugal versus Spain. Young Magellan absorbed these discussions about competing claims to global territories and trade routes. His page duties specifically included maintaining navigation instruments and organizing portolan charts. Magellan spent hours cataloging reports from pilots who had tested new passages around dangerous coastlines. The boy learned to identify different types of compass readings and understand how Portuguese navigators calculated their positions using celestial observations. This hands-on experience with navigation tools provided practical knowledge that complemented his theoretical education about ocean crossings and wind patterns. Court education shaped Magellan's understanding of navigation techniques that would prove essential during his later expedition. He learned to calculate distances using Portuguese methods for measuring ocean crossings. The boy studied how experienced captains estimated travel times based on wind patterns and seasonal weather changes. He observed discussions about provisioning ships for long voyages and managing crew morale during extended periods at sea. This knowledge would later enable him to plan and execute his own ambitious circumnavigation attempt. The court environment also exposed Magellan to the brutal realities of Portugal's colonial expansion. He copied reports describing violent encounters with local populations and the establishment of forced labor systems in Portuguese territories. The boy learned about the massive profits generated by controlling spice trade routes and the lengths Portugal would go to maintain its monopolies. This education in imperial economics taught him to recognize the potential value of discovering new passages to existing markets. Portuguese courtiers regularly discussed their concerns about Spanish attempts to find alternative routes to Asian markets. These conversations revealed Portugal's vulnerability if Spain succeeded in establishing its own direct access to the Spice Islands. Magellan heard detailed analysis of Spain's strengths and weaknesses in maritime exploration. He learned about Spanish navigational capabilities and their potential to compete with Portuguese dominance in global trade. His years as a court page concluded around 1505, when Magellan joined the Portuguese India fleet for active service. This transition from court observer to active participant would take him directly into Portugal's eastern expansion efforts.